The research station floated like a silver pearl on the endless blue of the Pacific Ocean, its solar panels gleaming under the afternoon sun. Marcus adjusted his camera lens, capturing the graceful arc of a humpback whale breaching in the distance. The sight never failed to take his breath away. These magnificent creatures, survivors of humanity's worst impulses, now thriving again in the protected waters. Another perfect shot for the documentary? Finn called out from the observation deck. His laptop balanced precariously on the railing as he analyzed water samples from their morning dive. "You know it," Marcus grinned, lowering his camera. At 28, he had already made a name for himself, combining marine biology with stunning nature photography. His work had taken him to every ocean on Earth, but this remote station, in the middle of the Pacific, was special a floating laboratory, where he and his best friend Finn studied the recovery of marine ecosystems. Finn, 2 years younger and infinitely more optimistic about everything, had been Marcus's research partner for 3 years. Where Marcus saw the beauty in solitary moments with nature, Finn saw hope in the data, in the slow but steady recovery of coral reefs and fish populations. They made an unlikely but effective team. "The coral growth rates are incredible this season," Finn said, not looking up from his screen. If these trends continue— His words were cut off by a strange humming that seemed to come from everywhere at once. Marcus felt it in his bones, a vibration that made his camera equipment rattle on its tripod. "What the hell is that?" Marcus muttered, scanning the horizon for aircraft. The sky was empty, except for a few scattered clouds. Above them, invisible to human eyes, Zara pressed her palm against the viewing port of their cloaked vessel, her heart heavy with guilt. Through the shimmer of their concealment field, she watched the 2 human males below, so unaware what was about to change their lives forever. "Are you certain about this approach?" Nix asked from the navigation console. Unlike her partner, Nix's violet skin bore the silver markings of their warrior caste, though she had chosen the path of exploration over combat. The council approved more direct methods. Zara shook her head, her emerald eyes never leaving the humans below. "Look at them, Nix. They're scientists, like us. They're trying to heal their world's oceans. These aren't violent creatures. They deserve better than to be taken like prisoners." The 2 women couldn't have appeared more different to human eyes. Zara's skin held the soft blue-green hue of deep ocean waters, and her silver hair flowed like liquid mercury to her waist. She was a geneticist, one of Zirian's finest, but her heart had always been too tender for the clinical detachment her work required. Nix, taller and more athletic, bore the violet complexion of her lineage, with hair like starlight and eyes that held ancient wisdom despite her youth. Both women wore the flowing garments of their people fabrics that seemed to shift and breathe like living things, adapting to their bodies and environment. But beneath the beauty of their appearance lay a desperation that had driven them across the vastness of space. "The fertility plague has claimed another 1,000 males this month," Nix said softly. "At this rate, we have perhaps 2 years before." "I know," Zara whispered. "But that doesn't mean we abandon our principles. These humans, Marcus and Finn, they have dedicated their lives to preserving life in their oceans. If we're asking them to help preserve our species, shouldn't we approach them with the same respect they show their creatures?" On the research platform below, Marcus and Finn had retreated inside as the strange humming intensified. Through the porthole windows, they watched in amazement as their instruments registered impossible readings. Electromagnetic, signatures that defied explanation. Atmospheric disturbances that suggested massive displacement of air. "Marcus, you need to see this," Finn called out, his voice tight with excitement and fear. His computers showed energy readings unlike anything in their databases. Before Marcus could respond, the air around them began to shimmer like heat waves. But instead of the harsh, disorienting effect of a military tractor beam, or the violent disruption they might have expected. The shimmer felt almost gentle, like being wrapped in warm silk. "We're being scanned," Marcus realized, his scientific mind engaging even as his heart raced. "Something incredibly advanced is studying us." Zara watched from above as her ship's bioscanners confirmed what their long-range observations had suggested. Both human males were in perfect health, their genetic markers showing the resilience and adaptability that might be the key to saving her people. "Initiating transport," Nix announced. "Biosigns are stable. They should experience no discomfort." "Wait," Zara said, her hand flying to the communication controls. "Let me speak to them first." The shimmer around Marcus and Finn suddenly coalesced into a gentle, aurora-like light. Then, impossible as it seemed, a voice reached them, melodic, feminine, and filled with an emotion that transcended species. "Please don't be afraid," Zara's voice carried through the water and air around them. "My name is Zara. I'm not from your world, but I need your help desperately." Marcus and Finn exchanged glances. In all their years of scientific training, nothing had prepared them for this moment. "We're not going to hurt you," the voice continued. "I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm begging for just a few moments of your time. My people are dying, and you may be our only hope." Finn, ever the optimist, was the first to find his voice. "How do we know you're real? How do we know this isn't some kind of experiment or hallucination?" A soft laugh, tinged with sadness, reached them. "Because what I'm about to show you is going to change everything you thought you knew about the universe. And I truly wish, there was another way." The light around them intensified, but instead of fear, Marcus felt an unexpected sense of calm. Whatever was happening, whoever this Zara was, the emotion in her voice was unmistakably genuine. She was asking, not demanding, pleading, not commanding. "We're listening," Marcus said, surprised by the steadiness of his own voice. "Thank you," Zara whispered from above, tears streaming down her face as she initiated the gentle transport sequence. "Thank you for giving us a chance." As the world dissolved around them in a cascade of silver light, Marcus and Finn felt themselves lifted not by force, but by something that felt almost like an embrace. Their last sight of Earth was the endless blue of the ocean they had dedicated their lives to protecting, and somehow they knew their world would never look the same again. But in that moment of transition, neither fear nor anger filled their hearts. Instead, there was curiosity, and something else, the first stirring of an adventure that would reshape the destiny of two worlds, bound together by love among the stars. Marcus awakened to the sensation of floating in warm, pearl-colored light. His body felt weightless, suspended in what seemed like liquid silk that breathed with him, adjusting to his every movement. Panic should have consumed him, but instead, he felt an overwhelming sense of safety, as if he were being cradled by the ocean itself. "Finn?" he called out, his voice carrying clearly through the luminescent chamber. "Right here," came the familiar reply from nearby. Through the translucent walls, Marcus could see his friend in an identical cocoon of light, looking equally bewildered but unharmed. "I feel like I'm floating in a dream. This is incredible, whatever this technology is. It's keeping us in perfect homeostasis." Before Marcus could respond, the light around them began to fade, revealing a chamber that took their breath away. The walls seemed to be made of living crystal that pulsed with gentle bioluminescence, similar to the deep-sea creatures they studied. Patterns of light flowed through the surfaces like neural networks, creating an organic beauty that spoke of advanced biotechnology beyond human comprehension. "Welcome aboard the Serenity," a voice said, and they turned to see Zara approaching with another woman. Marcus felt his heart skip as he saw her for the first time without the distortion of the transport beam. Zara was breathtakingly beautiful, but not in any way that seemed alien or distant. Her blue-green skin reminded him of sunlight filtering through deep ocean water, and her silver hair caught the chamber's light like captured starbeams. But it was her eyes, large, emerald, and filled with a kindness that transcended species, that held him transfixed. "I'm Zara," she said softly, and Marcus realized he had been staring. "And this is Nyx, my research partner and dearest friend." Nyx stepped forward with fluid grace, her violet complexion striking against her silver hair. Where Zara's presence felt like calm waters, Nyx radiated quiet strength, a protector who had chosen gentleness over force. "Please," Nyx said, gesturing to what appeared to be chairs that materialized from the floor itself, adapting to human proportions. "We know you must have questions." Finn, ever the scientist, was already examining their surroundings with fascination. "This is biotechnology, isn't it? The ship is alive, in a sense." "Very perceptive," Zara smiled, and Marcus felt something flutter in his chest at the warmth in her expression. "The serenity has grown rather than built. She's been my home for the past 3 years, as we've searched the galaxy for a solution to our crisis." "What crisis exactly?" Marcus asked, settling into the chair that seemed to mold itself to his body. "You mentioned your people were dying." Zara's expression grew somber, and she exchanged a glance with Nyx before beginning. "Our planet, Caesarian, was once home to billions. We were explorers, scientists, artists, a people who valued knowledge and beauty above conquest. But 5 years ago, a plague unlike anything we had ever encountered swept through our world." The chamber around them shimmered, and suddenly they were surrounded by holographic images of Xerion. Marcus gasped at the beauty of its cities that seemed to grow from the earth itself, with spires that twisted toward purple skies like living trees. Waterfalls of liquid light cascaded between floating gardens, and beings with skin in every hue of ocean and sky moved through spaces that blended architecture with nature. "It's beautiful," Finn breathed, reaching out to touch a hologram of crystalline flowers that chimed like bells in an unfelt breeze. "It was," Nyx said quietly. "The plague, we call it the silence, targets our reproductive systems. It doesn't kill, but it ... stops new life from beginning. In 5 years, we've gone from a population of 3 billion to barely 200 million. And no children have been born in over 4 years. Marcus felt his scientific mind engaging. "What kind of pathogen affects reproduction specifically?" "Not a pathogen in the traditional sense," Zara explained, her hands moving through the holographic controls to show cellular diagrams. "It appears to be a form of quantum virus. It affects the genetic expression of fertility at the subatomic level. Our best scientists believe it may have been introduced deliberately." "By who?" Finn asked, his environmentalist instincts flaring at the thought of such devastation. "We don't know," Nyx replied. "We have enemies. The dominion of Kythera has long coveted our worlds, but this level of subtle warfare is beyond their usual methods." The holograms shifted to show star maps, with Xerion highlighted among dozens of other worlds. "We've traveled to every planet in known space seeking a cure, seeking species genetically compatible enough to help us restore fertility to our people. Most were too different, others were too primitive, and some—" Zara's voice trailed off. "Some were like the Kythera," Nyx finished grimly. "Violent species that would see helping us as a sign of weakness to exploit." Marcus leaned forward, drawn not just by scientific curiosity, but by the pain he could see in Zara's beautiful face. "But Earth humanity, we're compatible?" "Remarkably so," Zara said, her eyes meeting his with an intensity that made his pulse quicken. "Your species shares over 90% genetic compatibility with ours, despite evolving on different worlds. But more than that ... She paused, seeming to struggle with words. "More than that?" Marcus prompted gently. "Your people show the same traits that made our civilization great before the silence," Zara continued. "Curiosity, compassion, the drive to explore and understand. You heal your oceans, protect your creatures, reach for the stars despite your conflicts. In our observations, we've seen humans sacrifice their own comfort to save species they've never even met. Finn shifted in his chair, understanding dawning in his eyes. You've been watching us, studying us. For 2 years, Nyx confirmed. We had to be certain. The genetic compatibility would mean nothing if humanity proved to be a species that would exploit our desperation. But you, both of you, proved to be exactly what we hoped, Zara said, her gaze returning to Marcus with something that felt like more than scientific interest. Protectors, healers, people who understand that all life is precious. Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks under her intense attention. There was something about the way Zara looked at him that went beyond professional assessment, something that sparked an answering warmth in his chest. So what exactly are you asking of us? He managed to ask. The chamber filled with new images laboratories where Zarian scientists worked alongside holographic projections of human genetic sequences. We need genetic material, Zara explained, though her cheeks took on a deeper blue-green hue that Marcus somehow recognized as a blush. With your permission, our scientists could use your DNA to create a treatment that might restore fertility to our people. And if it works? Finn asked. What happens to us? Do we go home? Zara and Nyx exchanged another look, this one filled with something Marcus couldn't quite identify. That, said a new voice, would be entirely up to you. They turned to see a holographic projection materializing an elderly Zarian, woman with skin like polished silver and eyes that held the wisdom of centuries. This is Elder Vesta, Zara said respectfully. She leads our High Council. Marcus Chun and Finn Anderson, the elder said, somehow knowing their names. We have watched you both for many months. Your dedication to your planet's oceans, your friendship, your character, all of it has impressed us greatly. Marcus felt Zara's eyes on him as the elder continued. If you choose to help us, you would not be prisoners or mere donors. You would be honored guests, free to return to Earth whenever you wished. But the elder's expression softened. We would hope you might choose to stay, at least long enough to see the result of your generosity. Why? Marcus found himself asking. Why would it matter if we stayed? Zara's hand moved as if to reach for his, then stopped, hovering in the space between them. Because, she said softly, this isn't just about saving our species anymore. In our observations of Earth, in our time studying you both, something unexpected happened. What? Finn asked, though Marcus thought he could guess from the way Nyx's violet gaze had focused on his friend with unmistakable warmth. We found ourselves hoping, Nyx said quietly, that when this was over, we wouldn't have to say goodbye. The chamber fell silent, except for the gentle hum of the ship's biosystems. Marcus looked into Zara's emerald eyes and saw vulnerability there, hope mixed with fear of rejection. Around them, the walls pulsed with soft light that somehow felt like a heartbeat. How long do we have to decide? Marcus asked, his voice rougher than he intended. As long as you need, Zara replied. But Marcus, our people don't have long. Every day we delay, more hope dies on Zarian. Marcus felt Finn's eyes on him and turned to meet his friend's knowing smile. What do you think? Marcus asked. I think, Finn said slowly, his gaze drifting to Nyx's hopeful face, that sometimes the most important discoveries happen when you're brave enough to explore uncharted waters. Marcus looked back at Zara, at the hope shining in her alien, but somehow familiar eyes, and felt something shift in his chest, like a compass finding true north. Then I guess we're going to Zarian, he said. Zara's smile was like sunrise over the ocean, beautiful and full of promise. And for the first time, since the transport beam had taken them from Earth, Marcus began to believe that this impossible journey might lead somewhere wonderful. The journey to Zarian would take 3 weeks through hyperspace, and Marcus found himself grateful for the time. Each day aboard the Serenity brought new wonders and deepening connections that he never could have imagined. The ship itself was a marvel of biotechnology. The walls breathed with gentle rhythms, filtering air and regulating temperature through organic processes that Zara explained were based on coral reef systems. Gardens grew in spiraling chambers throughout the vessel, providing both sustenance and beauty, their bioluminescent flowers creating patterns that shifted with the ship's emotional resonance. The Serenity responds to the feelings of everyone aboard, Zara had explained on their 3rd day. As they walked through a corridor where the walls pulsed with soft gold and blue. Right now, she senses curiosity and happiness. Marcus caught the slight hesitation in her voice and realized the ship was reflecting his own growing contentment. Despite the uncertainty of their situation, he felt more alive than he had in years. Every conversation with Zara revealed new depths. Her passion for genetic research matched his own love of marine biology, and her gentleness toward all living things resonated with something deep in his soul. "Tell me about your childhood on Zarian," Marcus said as they settled in what Zara called the observation lounge. The transparent walls showed the swirling colors of hyperspace, like swimming through liquid starlight. Zara's eyes took on a distant, wistful quality. "I was born in the Cerulean Gardens, one of the floating cities above our northern ocean. My parents were both researchers. My mother studied the song patterns of our sea creatures, while my father worked on atmospheric engineering." "Song patterns?" Marcus leaned forward, intrigued. "Our oceans are filled with creatures not unlike your whales, but they communicate through harmonics that can actually influence weather patterns. My mother discovered that their songs helped maintain the balance of our ecosystem." Zara's expression grew sad. "Before the silence, young Zarians would learn to sing with them as part of our coming-of-age rituals. Now, there are no young ones to carry on the tradition." Marcus reached out instinctively, covering her hand with his. The contact sent warmth shooting through both of them. Her skin was softer than silk and slightly cooler than human touch, but unmistakably right somehow. "We're going to help change that," he said softly. "Your people will sing with the sea creatures again." Zara turned her hand palm up, intertwining their fingers. "I've never told anyone this, but in the early days of our search, I sometimes wondered if we should just accept our fate. Maybe the universe was telling us it was time for Zarian to end. But you kept looking." "Yes, because even if I couldn't save my own people, I believed that somewhere in the cosmos there had to be others worth saving. Others worth ... knowing." Her emerald eyes met his. "I never expected to find someone I might want to know for the rest of my life." Marcus felt his breath catch. "Zara ... I know it's impossible," she said quickly, pulling her hand away. "You have a life on Earth, people who care about you. When this is over, Marcus interrupted, catching her hand again, "we'll figure it out together. I don't know how, but I've never felt anything like this before. Not with anyone." Meanwhile, in the ship's laboratory section, Finn was discovering his own impossible connection. Nyx had been showing him their genetic research, her violet fingers dancing over holographic DNA helixes with practiced grace. "Your environmental restoration work on Earth is remarkable," she said, pulling up images of Finn's published research on coral reef recovery. "You've managed to reverse damage that most species would consider permanent." "It's all about patience and understanding natural systems," Finn replied, studying the way her silver hair caught the lab's soft light. "Every ecosystem wants to heal itself. You just have to remove the obstacles and give it time. Like people, perhaps?" Nyx asked softly. Their eyes met across the holographic display, and Finn felt something shift in his chest. Over the past week, He'd come to admire Nyx's fierce intelligence and protective instincts. But beneath her warrior heritage, he'd glimpsed a vulnerability that called to his nurturing nature. "Nyx, can I ask you something personal?" She nodded, her expression suddenly shy in a way that seemed at odds with her confident demeanor. "Why exploration instead of combat? Your markings indicate you're from a warrior lineage." Nyx was quiet for a long moment, her fingers absently tracing patterns in the holographic light. "My family expected me to join the defense corps, to protect our worlds from the Kithera and other threats. But I always believed that the best way to protect something was to understand it first, to find connections instead of creating divisions. That's why you partnered with Zara for this mission." "Partly. But also," she looked up at him with eyes like liquid starlight, "I've always felt different from others of my kind. Too gentle for war, too curious about other species. Most Xerians find my interest in alien cultures ... unusual." "I don't find it unusual at all," Finn said, moving closer to her. "I find it beautiful. Your compassion, your curiosity, they're what make you special." Nyx's violet skin deepened to a rich plum color, and Finn realized he was witnessing another type of alien blush. "You don't think I'm too aggressive? Too different?" Finn laughed softly. "Nyx, I've spent my career trying to save ecosystems that most humans have given up on. Different doesn't scare me. It fascinates me." As the days passed, both couples found themselves growing closer in ways that transcended species barriers. Zara taught Marcus the basics of Xerian genetic theory, while he shared stories of Earth's ocean life. Their intellectual connection deepened their emotional bond, conversations flowing seamlessly from scientific discovery to personal hopes and fears. Nyx and Finn explored the ship together, her warrior's knowledge of its defense systems complementing his natural curiosity about its biological components. They discovered hidden gardens where Xerion flowers bloomed in response to emotional resonance, creating private spaces filled with colors that reflected their growing feelings. One evening, as they sat in Zara's quarters watching the hyperspace storm patterns, Marcus finally voiced the question that had been haunting him. "What if the genetic therapy doesn't work? What if we can't help your people?" Zara was quiet for a long time, curled against his side in a way that felt completely natural, despite their different physiologies. "Then at least I will have known what it feels like to find my perfect match among the stars," she said finally. "Your people have a concept of soulmates? We call it resonance pairing, the idea that somewhere in the universe there exists another consciousness that harmonizes perfectly with your own. Most Xerians never find their resonance pair." She turned to look up at him. "But I know I've found mine." Marcus tightened his arms around her, marveling at how perfectly she fit against him. "On Earth, we have a saying, 'Love conquers all.' I used to think it was just romantic nonsense. And now? Now I think love might be the most powerful force in the universe. Powerful enough to bridge the gap between worlds." Their first kiss was gentle, tentative an exploration rather than a conquest. Zara's lips tasted like starlight and possibilities, and Marcus felt something fundamental shift in his understanding of himself and his place in the cosmos down the corridor. Nyx and Finn were having their own moment of truth in the observation lounge, surrounded by the swirling beauty of hyperspace. "I have a confession," Nyx said, her warrior's courage finally overcoming her uncertainty. "When we first identified you and Marcus as candidates, I researched everything about your lives. Your work, your friendships, your relationships, ... and you've never had a serious romantic relationship. Neither of you. I wondered if perhaps humans were less emotionally driven than our species." Finn smiled, reaching out to cup her face gently. "Or maybe we were just waiting for the right person to come along. Even if she happened to be from another planet." Finn ... Nix whispered as he leaned closer. I know it's crazy, he said softly. I know we barely know each other, and you're from a completely different world, but I've never felt anything like this before. You make me want to be braver, stronger, better than I am. You make me want to explore every wonder the universe has to offer, she replied, her voice thick with emotion. And you make me hope that maybe, when this is all over, I won't have to choose between saving my people and keeping my heart. Their kiss was deeper than Marcus and Zara's, fueled by Nix's passionate nature and Finn's newfound courage. When they broke apart, both breathing heavily, the walls around them pulsed with warm purple and gold, the ship's biological systems, responding to their emotional resonance. As the Serenity continued its journey through hyperspace. Both human men found themselves facing a truth they never could have anticipated. They had come to save an alien species, but in the process, they were discovering parts of themselves they never knew existed. Love, it seemed, really was the most powerful force in the universe. And sometimes it took traveling to the stars to find it. On the final night before reaching Zarian, as the four of them gathered in the observation lounge to watch the swirling transition back to normal space, Marcus voiced the thought they were all sharing. Whatever happens on your world, he said, looking around at their small group, whatever challenges we face them together. All of us. Zara squeezed his hand while Nix leaned into Finn's embrace. Together, they agreed. And as Zarian's purple sun appeared in the distance, growing larger with each passing moment, none of them could have imagined the trials and triumphs that awaited them on the beautiful, dying world ahead, but they faced the unknown with hearts full of hope and love that transcended species, knowing that whatever the future held, they would meet it as two species, four hearts, united by the infinite power of love among the stars. The adventure was just beginning.